Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we successfully insert our data in our database for our about, right? So from here, now we can actually insert this data. So that is our add option. So from here, now we can actually insert it. And now it's visible in particular that position. So right now I want to update it. That means that it will also have the option for the edit and the delete. So first of all, I want to complete that edit portion. So in the edit portion, I have already discussed about that things with you friend, what exactly the things you have to do. Like I want to add one of the edit, you can see it's now showing also as a about, edit and the one ID. Because here we have to edit it with a specific one of the ID. So right now, first of all, we have to create this URL, right? Now go to our web route. Into the web route here, I better copy it. And that will be one of the get method. That will be as a get method. Here we don't need this name. That will be only one of the URL, right? So into the URL, I have already declared that URL. Our URL will be this one as a about, edit, and then also that have one of the ID. So now I want to add this part. So it will be just like that same. I have already show you how we can actually working with this. So here it will be one of the ID. Right, so that will be on the ID. So now in our about controller, I want to create one of the method. I name it as a edit about. Okay, I name it as edit about. Perfect. So now in this method we have to create in our about page. That means our about controller, and that is our URL, and also they have on the ID. So now go to our about controller, and after this, I take another one as a public, and then function. And then our method name, so that will be our method. So into the method that have also one of the ID, so that is actually our ID. So we have to add this ID. That means our requested ID, right? So here we have to add it. And after that, I want to return one of the page. That means a return one of the view page. So here I didn't create any view page, maybe in our home, better here. Into the home, there is a create page I have created, index page I have created. Right now I want to create another page for the edit.blade.php, right friend? So that will be our edit blade. So now I want to add this page. So that will be in our admin, and then our home, and then I have created as edit. So that will be our edit page, right? So that is our admin. Into the admin, that is our home, and then our file name as the edit blade, that is editblade.php. Perfect. So here, what exactly things we have to do? First of all, we have to get our specific one ID data. That means right now, that is one of the one data. So this specific one data I want to get, right? So if you want to get this with using that eloquent ORM, what exactly you have to do? Friend, I think you already know, but I shared this also with you, how that functionality actually work, but try to do that work as per your own, because I believe you right now at that position, you know about it. So that is, I take one of the variable as a home about, and now I want to do with our model. So I have already loaded our model as a home about. So now with this model, I want to find a specific ID data, right? So that will be as a find, and find our this ID data. So that means this ID data. That means the requested ID data, right? So here I get our specific one ID data and take the things with this variable. Now I want to pass it in our edit page, because into the edit page we have to actually show, right? So that will be the compact. With this compact, I pass this our specific one ID data. So now we can actually use this specific ID data in our edit page. So that will be our edit page. Of this edit page will be just like our create page. Better I copy everything from here. Okay, I copy everything from to this position, and now in our edit page I paste it. Okay, so here that will be as a create home. I make it as edit. Okay, that will be as edit home, and also our route will be needed for update. So it will be just like that same. And also CSRF token will be needed, and that is our title, that is our short description, and that is our long description. So first of all, I want to visible it. Okay, that means I want to visible all that our specific ID data. So that is the specific ID data I have already get. I have already get this specific ID data, and I pass it in our edit page, right? So I pass it with the home, that means the home about. So now I want to visible it. That means here, that is our title. So title will be visible as a, right now we don't need this placeholder. I remove that placeholder. Here it will be display with the value, right? So with this value I want to visible it. So here, if you want to visible, that will be our, from here I pass it every specific ID data with our this variable. So now with this variable, right? So with this variable I want to visible our database field name. Our database field name as a, this one maybe title, right? Yeah, that is actually the title, short description and the long description. So that will be as a title. So right now actually I name it the same name as a title. You can see that is actually really helpful. So for this I name it as the same name. So that is our title, which should be visible. And also after that, that is our short description. So better I copy it. So here if you want to display it in our text area, here you have to make it as a directly. So I paste it. So with this about, I want to display our another database field name as a short description, and also that will be our long description. That will be a long description. So that is all that our actually database field name. You can see that is actually our database field name as a short description and the long description. So now I add all the things. Perfect. And also that is actually after that we have to update it. So better first of all I want to check it, click as a save all. And now if you go, and now if you refresh it, now click as a edit. Yeah, you can see it's now perfectly redirected to our this requested ID. So that is actually our requested ID as a 1, and this one ID value is visible. That means the title is visible, short description is visible, long description is also visible, right friend? That means everything is now perfectly working. Okay, so now I want to update it. So here I want to change that name. I want to change that name. It will be as update. Okay, update. So that will be as update. So when you click as the update button, then it will be redirect to our this route. That means this action as a route. So here we have to add one of the route for this one. So better I want to add one of the route. So that will be better. I want to use one of the URL. Okay, that means the URL, and URL will be here. I want to add one of the, sorry, that will be as a URL, and here I want to add one of the name as update / home about. Okay, this type of, and also after that here we have to add our what? We have to add our specific ID, because here we have to update it with a specific one of the ID, right? So now first of all here I also want to concrete it. When I take everything from our page with our home about, right, a specific ID data. So with this ID I want to access our specific this ID, this position ID. So I want to add this ID, right friend? So that's all you have to do. So now it will be updated with our specific one of the requested ID. So here we have to do that work. So now we have to create, that is also method as a post method. So now we have to create this URL. Okay, so now go to our web. That means here I want to copy it. I want to copy it. So it will be one of the name. I have already declared that name. It will be as an update about home. I copy it, and after that there are also one of the ID. So now I want to add it. That will be as a update about home, and after that they have one of the ID, right? And then in our about controller I want to create one of the method, and I just name it as a update about. Okay, I name it as a update about. Perfect. So this is the method I want to create in our about controller. Now go to our about controller, and after that, so friend, I think you enjoy it very much, because every part is very clear to you. If you actually flow my all that step, and if you practice, then it not be difficult to you. So that is our public, and then function, and then our method name as update about, right? So that will be our update method. So from here I want to update this all that our field. So if you want to update it, as I told you friend before, that will be we have to pass that as a request. That means the request, so the request and the dollar request. So that will be as a request and the dollar request, right? And after that you can also add some of the validations. Right now that will be just like that same. Okay, better I copy it I copy all things for store this data. So I copy everything from here. And now in update here I paste it. So now I want to update it, right? So if you want to update, better I want to take one of the variable. I take one of the variable as a update. Okay, update, and then in our controller, that is model. So right now I'm using that about the home about. So I have also load this model, right? So with this model I want to update it. So with this model I want to dot the insert. Right now I want to update. So if you want to update it, here we have to update it with a specific one of the ID data, right? So here also we have to add a specific ID data. For the reasons here, first of all we have to find it. That means here we have to find we have to find our which ID. Okay, here we have to add our ID. Because of all, if you go here, you can see they have also one of the ID. So here we have to add this ID in our this position after that request. So after that request, here also we have to add this ID, right? Because here I want to update this specific one of the ID data, so that will be our ID. So I want to find this specific ID, so that will be our specific ID, and this ID our data I want to update. Okay, so then this ID data I want to update. Perfect. So that's all you have to do. I hope, friend, you well understand about that part. And now I want to update it, that title, the short description, the long description, time not be needed. Better I remove it. So here I want to update it our D3 of this field. Okay, so that is actually our looking into ORM. So that is our home, find our this specific ID data I want to update. So friend, remember this concept. Actually, if you remember this, all that concept, it not should be hard for you. You can do everything whatever you want. Okay, and after that, when it should be updated, after that updated, I want to make it as it should be redirect to our this route as a home index page. Okay, that means I have already created this route as a home about, that means the home index, right? So it should be redirect to our specific this page with some of the success message as a about updated successfully. So this type of one of the message, it should be visible. And also in our home index page, I have already showed that message. You can see that is actually our message. So now it should be visible. So friend, that's all you have to do for our update. Now click as a save all. And now if you go, click as a refresh. So everything is great. So now to make it as a easy. Okay, I name it as easy. And also I want to update it. So that will be as a easy. So that will be as a easy, not the one, or you can also put it as a easy. Perfect. So now I'm going to click as a update. And now here you can see that is actually showing as a post method. So here I do the wrong because of all, if you go to the web, you can see I didn't change it. So that is actually the update portions, right? So here from to this position, I make it as a post method. Okay, so here make that sure you updated it. It should be as a post method, not the get method. So that is actually very common error. So you can see when actually facing that error, you will be understand why this error actually happening. So that is actually the error. And now click as a save all. Now go back and I refresh it again. And now I make it as a easy. Okay, easy. And then I also want to add it as easy. I want to check it is updated successfully or not. So now I want to click as update. Yes, you can see, friend, it's now showing as the about updated successfully. And you can see there's also updated our title, our short description is updated, and also a long description is updated. If you go to our database, click as a browse, yeah, everything is successfully updated. Right, friend? So how can actually update it? How can edit? I have already discussed about that things with you, but right now I also want to share that things with you. Okay. So that's how you can actually update. That means that you can edit and you can update it. So first of all, you have to edit a specific one of the requested ID. And then we have to also update it with a specific one of the requested ID. And how can do that work? I hope, friend, you will understand about it. So that is our update portion. That is our specific edit portion. And that is our store portion. And that is our read this data. Right? And also if you want to show some of the page, then you have to view it like that way. So that is the main concept, friend, right? So here we successfully complete our update portion. So in our next video, I want to discuss about the delete portion. So right now, if you want to delete it, how you can delete it in our next video, I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.